I need a tissue. This is my bloody tissue from earlier. I literally blew my nose so flipping much that blood started coming out of it. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten this sick, but I have the dedicated trash bag for all of my flipping tissues, and I've had to replace this at least a few times. Hey, what's up guys? It's Jess. Welcome back to my channel, and if you can't tell already, I am super flipping sick. So in an attempt to make myself feel better, I've decided to remind myself of all the times I've felt worse. So today I will be ranking all the times I've cried throughout college. I will be ranking each of these events based on how I felt in the moment as opposed to how I'm feeling now, because honestly with almost all of these I'm completely over it. So here is the ranking system that I have come up with. The first category is tears are shed but I was fine after bed. The second category is cried a lot but then I forgot. And the third category is in so much pain I was never the same. Okay, first I'm gonna go ahead and start with my freshman year of college. The first instance I remember crying was actually freshman year orientation. At the time, I already committed to UW, but I never actually went to the school before, so during freshman year orientation, my family and I all went together. After the orientation was over, we had a few extra days left for just vacationing around Washington. And this particular day, we were driving up to Leavenworth. In the car on the way to Leavenworth, I received a Snapchat. Oh my gosh, that's how you know how long ago this was, is because I still had Snapchat. But I received a Snapchat from a girl in my high school and she said, hey, my friend has to tell you something. Keep in mind, I have no idea who this flipping friend is. Without getting into too much detail, basically the girl said, hey, I'm so sorry to tell you this, but your boyfriend's been texting me saying how badly he wants to hook up with me and how he can't because he has a girlfriend. As she was kind of explaining the details, I was obviously super upset, but I hate crying in front of my family. So I had to flipping hold it together for that entire 2-ish hour car ride to flipping Leavenworth. I was trying to hold it together for as long as I could, but eventually I couldn't, and I just started crying in the car. My parents are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I just got cheated on. And my parents never have any extreme reactions to anything really, so they're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Honestly, looking back, I think them not reacting that strongly made me not react that strongly in the moment. So I actually stopped crying pretty quickly, but you'll see in all of our family photos from that vacation, my face is like, but it was summer, there was a pool at the hotel, I was ready to be in my bad B era right away. There were so many songs out at that time that really helped me then. Triggered by Gina Eco, Hurts Like Hell, Madison Beer, and Gone Girl by Trippie Redd and Ian Dior. So again, I didn't get into too much detail, but that was just kind of a short summary. So if I had to rank that, I would give it, the first time I would give it tears were shed, but I was fine after bed. But when he flew to Washington and came to my hotel so we could talk about it, I'm gonna give that one cried a lot, but then I forgot, because when you see someone in person and kind of break down the whole situation, that is just so many more emotions coming at you as opposed to something just happening via text. No bad blood though, peace, love, happiness, everything happens for a reason. I think that's what they say. Okay, next. The next instance I remember crying was during my freshman year as well. Coming straight out of high school, I was a really good student in high school, so I was ready to excel academically at the University of Washington. This was before I knew those dreams were gonna be crushed. At the time, I was taking Math 124, and even though it was the first flipping week, we already had a homework assignment. It was a web assign to make matters worse. This first web assign was particularly challenging for me, especially since it was my first college assignment. So I heard my professor mention office hours and I was like, oh, okay, I can go get some help from the professor and show him that I'm a good student who really cares about my grade and about learning. So I went to his office hours and I was the only one flipping there, obviously, because who the heck else would go during the first week of school? And I remember asking him about this one question, and he just did not have an attitude that sat right with me. He said something along the lines of, like, I don't know how you don't get it. I don't know what you're stuck on. Like, go ahead and work on it and then get back to me if you have any more specific questions. You guys know when you stare at a problem in a homework assignment and it's just all so overwhelming to you because you have no flipping idea how to even start it? But I was like, okay, so I sit down in the chair in his office and I start working on the problem. And almost instantaneously, he goes, what are you doing? And so I respond, oh, I'm just working on the problem, since that's what he wanted me to do, so I can ask him a flipping specific question. And then he says something like, well, you can't do that in here, so get out, and then you can just come back. Get out? Basically, he didn't want me to sit in his office and work on the problem that I was struggling with during his designated office hours. Maybe if the response was something similar to, hey, thank you so much for coming to my office hours to get help with this problem. I know it's a bit tricky, but I don't see anything written down yet, so if you could just quickly leave my office hour to maybe jot some ideas down that you think of and then come back in and we can go over them together and work through the problem, that would be great. Anything along those lines would have been better than the response I got. Of course, I was overreacting. Looking back, it wasn't that big of a deal. And if the same thing happened to me now, I probably wouldn't cry. But as a freshman by myself in that crusty old math building with an adult talking to me sternly, yeah, I cried. Obviously, I've turned it into jokes since then, but I will say that that event did have a significant damper in my academic excellence throughout college. I never went to a single one of his office hours ever again. To be fair, that incident did lead me to seek out additional academic resources like the Math Study Center and the Physics Study Center, which ended up being super helpful, and they were led by students that were really kind and understanding and super, super helpful to what I was struggling with. So thank you so much to them. I'm super grateful for them. So one bad thing turned into a good thing, so I'm just gonna kind of use that as some motto for life. Tears were shed, but I was fine afterward. The next time I cried has been something I have cried about continuously throughout my entire life, but it was most prominent during my freshman year. I don't know if y'all have seen my videos from back then, but I had the worst acne ever. It was the worst it had ever gotten my freshman year. I was just so fed up at that point because I've been dealing with bad acne since 7th grade, and it was already freshman year of college. I was a freshman, it was my first year at college. I wanted to meet new people, and the fact that I was dealing with something so visible that was negative in my eyes was really difficult to deal with. I'm the type of person that acts super confident and put together even though I might be struggling with something really bad on the inside, and that was what it was like freshman year. On the outside, I was like, nope, I'm great, I'm killing it, but honestly, the acne made me feel so horrible, so insecure. This one was kind of on the borderline between cried a lot but then forgot, and then in so much pain was never the same, because it really did have such a significant impact on the way that I viewed myself and my self-worth, especially since it's something I'm still dealing with to this day as a senior in college. But my acne did get better at some points throughout college, so that's why I'm kind of leaning towards the second one, because obviously when it was better, it wasn't affecting me as much. It's just specifically during freshman year, it was the worst it has ever been, and I was the most emotionally distraught by it. So in terms of how I felt freshman year, I'm gonna probably give it in so much pain, I was never the same. However, if I view it throughout the course of my entire college journey, then I would probably give it the second ranking. Now we're moving on to sophomore year. This one happened during winter quarter, so y'all can flipping imagine how that went. I had already moved back to Illinois for a while now because of COVID. So at this point, I was on online school for a while. A lot of my friends at the time were still in Washington though, so I felt really left out. So it was just a really hard time being back at home while everything was online. So at the time, I had a boyfriend, and at the time, I really liked him. So he broke up with me, and then I had a math midterm that week. This was probably a top 10 saddest I've ever felt in my entire life, I gotta be honest. Again, I don't want to get into too much detail about relationships, but your girl was struggling for a while. By a while, I mean several months. I lost over 15 pounds. I was stick skinny at that time. I was cleaning out my room and I found a notebook the other day. This is probably top 5 most embarrassing things I've ever done. But of course I blocked him, but I still wanted to talk to him. So I was like, you know what, let me make a notebook where I just write to him, and then when I see him again, I can just give it to him, and there can be all the things that I wish I could tell you, but I never got to. Tell me why. In one of the journal entries, I was talking about a nightmare I had about him. And I said, I didn't want to wake up though, because at least I still had you in my nightmare. Anyways, the math midterm on top of that was like a negative 5 trillion out of 10. I was listening to the same song on repeat again for several months. Yeah, that instance deserves the top spot for In So Much Pain Was Never the Same. That was horrible. Next, now we're moving on to junior year. Y'all already know the flipping story, but I got such severe food poisoning at my trip in California. To give y'all a brief summary, I went to California with my friend Sophia and we ate at a restaurant. I was super hungry because we just went to the gym, so I ordered 2 things, baby back ribs and a mac and cheese burger. Didn't finish all of it, obviously, so I brought it back to our Airbnb. It was super hot. We were driving home with it being in the hot car. I left it out for a while, woke up, put it in the microwave for not that long. So I started eating the ribs as they were pretty cold. I wasn't feeling well, so I decided to get a huge gallon of water and some strawberries. And I also got several donuts and a cinnamon roll from SK Donuts. I somehow made it through the plane ride okay, but as soon as I got to my apartment, I literally threw up the most I've ever had in my entire life. All over the carpeted floor. I'm pretty sure most of our security deposit was taken out because of that one instance, gotta be honest, because it never flipping came out no matter how hard I flipping tried to clean it up. It was so bad and I started bawling my eyes out. There have been so many instances throughout my life in which I have felt physical pain, but this has gotta be top 3. And of course, y'all know after that led to a series of unfortunate flipping events with my stomach. And to this day, it's still not better. So this one is definitely ranked in So Much Pain Was Never the Same. I used to love trying new foods, eating a bunch of food, but after this event, it has just destroyed my relationship with food. So super sad that I can't enjoy the things that I used to anymore, but that's just life. Things happen. Deal with it. Okay, my next one is also junior year. The infamous time where I dropped out of school. This one, yeah. In So Much Pain Was Never the Same, obviously. I made a video talking about this situation in depth in case y'all are curious, but in summary, to keep it in the context of this video, I was dog sitting at someone else's house. I had 2 midterms the next day. One of them I felt really bad about, and the other one I felt infinitely worse about. There was no food in this flipping house. I was working 3 flipping jobs on top of a full course load to support myself, because UW charges a ridiculous amount of money for out-of-state students. That NASA internship, the one I worked 20 years of my life for, and my flipping physical health condition. Being in all of that physical pain on top of already being stressed out made the physical pain worse, which made the mental health part worse. Yeah, this is getting top spot in this ranking for sure. I mean, no doubt, blew the other ones out of the flipping water. Okay, I think I've had enough talking about all the times I've cried throughout college. This video is a little bit too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here. Let me know if you guys wanna see a video where I rank all the times I've made other people cry. It would be a YouTube short. It wouldn't. That is the end of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and go to flipping bed now and see if I wake up. That was a little bit morbid, so just kidding. What I meant to say was that I'm gonna go ahead and rest now and re-energize so I can be refreshed, revived, and ready to thrive, as we said at Bath & Body Works. That is the end of the video, and I will see you guys all in my next one. Bye!